Hello and a warm welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to be taking you on an August garden tour. I'm going to start this garden tour by showing you the hydrangeas and how well they're doing. If you just look behind me now, they are looking fantastic. The hydrangea that is on my right, your left, has been in the garden for many years. This is a really beautiful hydrangea. It's the more traditional type and it's pink because the soil is less acidic, it's more alkaline. And to the right, we've got Hydrangea Annabelle, looking as beautiful as ever with those lovely white flowers. They're truly stunning. And then nestled beneath, and on the other side as well, we've got Hakonechloa macra. Such a beautiful plant, nice to have around the edges of a pathway, especially like this when you have it in a container and you can just brush past it. It's such a tactile grass and one of those that you really want to touch. I love the flowers on this grass, so beautiful. Also, every now and then we can, because this has been in the container for a while now, we can also take some of this up, dig it out, refresh the soil, so replenish it with fresh compost, and then what we'll do is we'll make lots of new plants from this. We'll divide it and it will fill the space again in the pot, so we can keep dividing and creating more plants. That's probably the way that we're going to do it. But everything's looking great. Here we have our Cosmos, and this is a variety called double click cranberries, and you can tell where the cranberries come into it. Just look at that succulent colour. These are amazing. Cosmos are always fantastic, but this is a really nice variety. They've just started to come into their own. They're budding up, they've just started to flower, and it's wonderful to see. I just love that colour, really does it for me. I think they're looking really great, and as the month goes on, we're going to get lots more flowers from this and some more height as well, because it's all in the height. Just absolutely love that. I'd be happy if they come to say so high. I'd be really happy with them, but this is a lovely variety of Cosmos. Instead of using the more traditional white varieties that we do quite a bit, last year we had some slightly different, of a different colour, and this year we've gone for a really deep succulent colour. Look at that. That is wonderful. Now, Phlox, I have to say, are doing absolutely fantastic. I love them. Just look how beautiful they are. On my July garden tour, they were really just, they were ready to bud. They were not like this. Look at them now. August is here. It's a fantastic month. It's also the month of my birthday, and I just love it. The scent in this area of the garden now is truly amazing. I love it. The aroma, it's so sweet. It's so cottage garden. Everything about it screams cottage garden. It's so wonderful just to be amongst these amazing plants. Again, the repetition, it just suits this space. It's fantastic. I absolutely love it. And I remember last month talking to you about our grasses. So my favourite grass, which is Stipa tenuissima, and just look at how well this is doing. Last month I said it was going to come into its own. Now it has. Just look at that. I said it would be frothy. It's like the froth on top of a coffee almost. Just look at it. That is truly stunning. Oh, and all the seeds that we can get from this. This will literally just, we've got bits and pieces coming off it all over the place, but it's one of those that will self-seed everywhere. And I've got the evidence. If you follow me, let the cameraman follow me, the evidence is in the path. Literally, look at this, Stipa tenuissima coming up there, starting to flower. Also, more along the path there. So we've got some weeds, but we've also got Stipa tenuissima here and here as well. A few babies, and throughout the border. There, look. Lots of it around. It's an amazing grass. It's my favourite. It's one of those that when it's windy, like today, you have a slight breeze out, you capture that breeze, and it's like a wave. It rides with it. I love the way it's not an upright, it flows. It just allows itself to blow in the breeze and it's so relaxing, especially when it's planted en masse. So if you had a huge area and planted it up, when it's windy, you would find yourself coming out into the garden when there's a breeze out, sat there and just watching this grass blow in the wind. It's so relaxing. It's such an amazing sight to see. I absolutely love it. It's great in this border because we've just created, as you do in garden design, that repetition coming through. Now, I have to say something. This border is looking great. I think it's looked better. I certainly think last year at this time of year, the same time, it did look better. I'm going to be honest, you know, we all are quite critical of our own spaces, of our own gardens, and we notice things as gardeners. And I'm telling you now, this last year was stunning. It was a masterpiece. This year, it's looking great, and so many of you will look at it for the first time and say, what a wonderful space, your garden's amazing, it's fantastic. But to us, we can see the difference. I think it's something to do with all the rain that we've had. We've had a very wet spring. It was sporadic. The start of the plants, it was quite, it was, you know, the sun would be out, then it would just stay cloudy and rainy for days and weeks. And I think this is a result of this, I really do. And the grasses are not doing what they usually do. So it seems to be better up this end, but then a bit hit and miss as well, because it's all big and bushy at this end. We've got smaller, the Stipa tenuissima is quite smaller in places to what it usually is. It's just not doing it. So it's going to have a bit of TLC. It's been fed as well. So everything that you see has been fed throughout the season so far and will continue to be fed. So it's nothing to do with nutrients or anything like that. It simply is. It's just weather related. I think we've all had issues this year with our plants not doing perhaps as well as what they could do, you know, for the time of year. And that's certainly the case with us. Oh, I'm loving these as well. These beautiful alliums, these drumstick alliums. They're amazing. They always feed through the border and you see them throughout. And again, in places looking better than others. This bunch of bulbs look far better than as we go along the border. It's just one of those things. I just think these drumstick alliums are amazing. But I do think that everything has suffered with the weather. And it is just one of those things. Some years you're going to get it and it's going to be like, wow, it can't get better. And then other years you're going to have to either rejig things, change things around, or quite simply just be patient, because it is weather related and there's not very much we can do about that. We're not in control of the weather. We might be in control of many things, but the weather is not one of those things. Everything is looking great. There's so much to show you. There's also something else that we've noticed as well. We've had to cut back some of our geraniums in this border. Reason being is because they've been struggling to flower this year for the first time. Now, geraniums, hardy geraniums, are one of those plants. You put them in to most places and they will grow, they will thrive, they will flower well. And we've never had a problem in all the years, many, many years that we've been growing them. Unfortunately, this year in this very border, we've had problems. So all the way along, they've been cut back, literally. And Geranium Patricia as well is one of those. Geranium Patricia is quite a robust geranium, hardy geranium, with quite beautiful flowers, pink, on the verge of magenta type flowers, coloured flowers. Now, she struggled this year across this border. Patricia doesn't normally struggle. This year she has. Also Geranium Brookside as well as another one that struggled. It's flowered, yes, just as Patricia has, but not as well as it usually does. It's not as big, it's not as robust, and it's just one of those things. It really is, but we're doing our best. Oh, look at this one. Eryngium Colbolt Star. We've been growing this one for many years. We used to grow this in Sheffield. A truly beautiful plant. It's majestic, it's gorgeous, it's thorny, it's prickly. It's everything that's so different from many of the other plants that we grow, but we love it. Been growing it for many years and it's truly beautiful. Our salvias. Now, as you may remember, because of the wet winter, we lost all our salvias in this border, so we replaced them with smaller plants. As you can see, they're flowered, you know, they've been flowering, they've been doing great, but they're still quite small. Now, next year, these plants will thrive. They will become bigger. They will just grow and probably about this high. They will get better as time goes on. We're hoping for not as wet a winter as what we had last year. That way we'll manage to save them and stop all this nonsense what's been going on with plants just not doing their thing. I mean, salvias, they did not appreciate that wet winter at all. So here's hoping, fingers crossed, for a drier winter, and hopefully they'll make it through into next year and thrive and be better than what they are this year. I'm just going to take you over now to the other side of the border, where we've got the Buddlejas that were taken as cuttings from the main Buddleja, one of the main Buddlejas in the garden, over at the other side. And these were all cuttings, and look at how well they've grown. They're fantastic. So we've got 4 plants there, 4 Buddlejas, and 2 of them are flowering. You can't get enough Buddleja in the garden. In case you don't know, Buddlejas are known as the butterfly bush. Butterflies absolutely adore them. They are rich in nectar, and butterflies just seem to live on them. They get drunk on them, literally. So they're always great to have in the garden if you like your bees and your butterflies. Absolutely love it. Now, on to the tomatoes. We've got 2 varieties of tomato in this container. We've got Gold Chrome, which is this variety here, and they're nice and small. We've got a few more flowers there, but literally we've got lots of tomatoes on there. They're absolutely amazing. And this one is called Indigo Cherry Drops. Now, I love this variety. I'm not a tomato fan, as in I don't like to eat them, to be honest with you, but I'm looking forward to eating these tomatoes. Just look at how gorgeous they are. Look at the colour. They're so tempting. They really are. They're almost like a plum colour. They are amazing. Certainly the name Indigo, literally. But Indigo Cherry Drops, you cannot beat it. This is gorgeous. I just love them. I'm looking forward to trying these. I really am. As I say, I'm not a tomato fan, but I can make an exception with these amazing tomatoes. I truly can. Then as we go further along, we've got, I'm just getting myself caught there, we've got some more, which are Moneymaker. And these are tried and tested. Paul's been growing these for a while now, and just look at them. They are really nice tomato. They're going to be amazing. And this is a sunny site. This gets full sun, this fence, so they're absolutely in the most perfect place. Because they're in containers, we do have to keep on top of the watering. On a hot day, they will dry out, so we need to keep a check on the water levels and make sure they're being watered. There's something I really need to show you though, since the last time we spoke. We'll work our way from top to bottom. Just look at the sweet peas. Now, these have been absolutely amazing. We've had so many sweet peas brought into the house over the summer so far, and that's going to continue. I just love them. You cannot beat sweet peas. If you love scent in the garden, it's great for the kids as well. Fantastic plant to get the kids growing. Sunflowers and sweet peas, because they'll just love them. It's nice to introduce scent into your garden as well. If you want to introduce scent, this is the best way. Grow your sweet peas from seed and then just literally enjoy the flowers. In order to continue the display though, what we need to do is regularly, and I come out daily usually, or Paul does it, what we do is just take them back. So all I should do to these flowers now, if you do not cut them back, they will go to seed, like everything does, but these will go to seed quite quickly, form seed pods, and you will end up with a situation where it'll eventually, they'll all turn to seed pods and it'll stop flowering. To continue with succession, what we need to do is to keep cutting the flowers. Cut the flowers, bring them into the house. If you don't like bringing flowers into the house, you can put them on a garden table. You can put them in a summer house. You know, give them to someone, give them to neighbours, friends, give them to family. You know, everybody appreciates flowers. And, you know, this is the best thing to do. So all you need to do is come along with your secateurs and just literally cut off each stem. Just go back to the base, cut off each stem like that. It's simple, and it will keep these plants flowering longer. They will keep going, and that's what we want. We need that succession. We need to keep them flowering because we want to enjoy this until the latest possible stage. We want to enjoy that scent, enjoy the colour, and for many of you who do know, great, but for those of you who don't know, what we do is we plant ours in containers. So all our sweet peas are grown in containers from seed to avoid root disturbance. We keep them in the containers. It also helps with the slug situation as well, because it's further for them to climb up the pot. They're grown in containers, then when they're ready to be placed out into the garden, they're simply manoeuvred into position like so. So we'd manoeuvre that into the ground, and the roots will permeate through the base of the pot, through the holes into the ground, anchor themselves in, get the nutrients and rainwater water from the soil, but they stay in the pots. And it's a really great way, and it just shows it works. You know, it works for us. Absolutely fantastic. But I love sweet peas. I can't imagine a garden without them. And this year, because of the rain that we've had, I think they've done really well. They were a bit slow to start and open up, but once they did, the display's just been amazing, and this will continue throughout the summer. I absolutely adore calendulas. I always have done, and these 3 varieties are no exception to that. We have Pink Surprise, Snow Princess over to the left here, and then further along we have Indian Prince. We've grown Indian Prince before, but Snow Princess and Pink Surprise are new ones on us, and they're doing really, really well. I am so pleased with these plants. I especially absolutely adore this Snow Princess. Absolutely amazing. Such big blooms. I do like the more vibrant colours, I must admit. I am a fan of my oranges, and certainly red in any colour, but obviously I love my red, I love my orange, and this one's gorgeous. But Indian Prince, this is one that we've grown many times before, and that's just opening up now, but that's a truly amazing colour. I love that. Nice and vibrant, a bit like my personality. We've got some lovely antirrhinums going on below here at the base there. They're doing fantastic, and I'm just so happy with the way this is coming along. I like the combination. I love the fact we've got the sweet peas running up the fence, but we've also got the calendulas running along the base there. Normally this would be Paul's veg bed, and that was created as such, but we decided to have a change. We decided to do something different. We decided to have the tomatoes in here, we decided to have the calendulas in, and the sweet peas as well, and I think it works really well, and it works better for me as a flower bed than it does as a veg bed. But we have got the fruits in there, we've got the tomatoes in, so we can't say we're not using it for edibles altogether. But these are fantastic. As you may know, with calendulas we can use the petals in a cream to make an ointment with, so they can be used. They can also be used in salads as well. So they have many, many uses, calendulas, and there are plants that are certainly well worth growing. I always grew the traditional variety many, many years ago growing up. I know that Paul did as well, but then there are so many varieties out there now that we can use that are quite different to the original orange ones that we used to get everywhere. Oh, I'm loving this. Absolutely loving the way this Geum's going on. This is an amazing one. Look at this. Sunflowers still going on. Where we've got stems, where the flowers have gone over, so we've got 2 buds there, but where we've got stems where things have pretty much gone over, we can trace those back to the base. So down here in the pot, cut it right back, we will get new flower stems coming up. So with Geums, wait till they finish flowering all together. So when all these buds are finished, trace the stem right back to the base, cut it back to the base, you will get more flower stems coming up throughout the summer, and it's just a great way of making sure that the Geums continue to flower throughout the summer period. We've got over here on the rockery a Veronica called Moody Blues Pink, and just look at that gorgeous pink. Look at these lovely stems. They are so lovely. They are truly amazing. And an Eryngium called Lapis Blue, and just look at that, you can't beat it. The colour is so gentle, the flowers, but look at the vibrant blue. Now this used to be, if you can remember, where the rosemary was, and that was in here for a while. It wasn't liking it, it turned brown. I don't know what happened, but we decided to take it out. Plants will tell you if they're liking something. It's the perfect place. This border here has sun on it for most of the day, probably for 90% of the day, 95% of the day during summer. It's the perfect place for rosemary. The soil was perfect, the position was perfect, but the rosemary still didn't like it. The plant was telling us something. Listen to your plants. If you keep putting a certain plant in a place, or even just put it there once and it dies, and you've tended to it in the right way, it's telling you something. It's saying, I don't like this aspect, I don't like this situation, you've put me in the wrong place, or I'm not happy here, I'm not going to thrive. And they die, and that's what happens. It's like us, if we're not in a nurturing, loving environment, the same thing happens with us, and plants are no exception. Whereas you can see now the Veronica and the Eryngium, they're in there, they seem to be really happy, and they're going to do amazingly there. They truly are, because they're the right plants for this situation. They seem to be happy. Let's hope that continues, but I'm sure it will with these. The rosemary, I don't know. Rosemary's not a very fussy plant. As long as it's out in the sun, baking away, it's happy. So I don't understand. And it was watered and settled in at first, so I don't know what's gone on there. Now, oh, look at this beauty. Now, this is a variety of Persicaria called Superba. And I really like this one. You know, I'm always a fan of big plants, big tall specimens. I'm not a fan of short little plants, but this Persicaria does it for me. I think it's truly amazing. I love the way it just seems to take over and spread everywhere. But the flowers are lovely and the bees absolutely adore it. Thrift has now gone over. It's now finished. It was one tiny plant, about this big, that spread across this entire area. And if you left this, it will continue to spread. Quite often with Thrift, or Armeria as it's called, you can cut the flowers back and they will, especially more early on in the summer, they will certainly come back. I think we're at that stage now where we're just going to leave it be. I think the seed heads look fantastic. The seeds have already formed. They're starting to come away. And I just think that looks great as it is. Lovely geranium there, which is Geranium sanguineum album. That's there doing its thing. That's quite happy. And one of my other favourites, Centranthus ruber. Centranthus ruber is a really great plant. It's one of my favourites. It likes to grow in rocks, so certainly it's in the right place, likes rocky areas. And this has been cut back. So what we've done is when the spent flowers have occurred, we've taken the stem right back. So imagine a flower, big flower, because they were quite big at first there. We've taken it back down once it's finished, and we're getting shoots, 2 shoots there. Those 2 shoots will then grow into flowers. We will get flowers from those 2 shoots. We'll have 2 stems, one at either side, with flowers. And that's how they work. Look at this. So like that. So that's where the stem was cut. Then we've got these 2 flowers forming there, and they will never be as big as the original flowers were, as tall as the original flowers were, but they're still flowering, and that's what matters. Geranium nimbus was taken back to the ground, now come back and look at the flowers. The Geranium nimbus has been happy to be cut back. It was looking tired, the foliage was looking a bit exhausted, and to be honest with you, it was coming over. It had flowered quite a bit and was coming to the end of its flowering. So we've cut it back. It's a lovely hardy geranium and does repeat flower. You just chop them back with the shears or secateurs right back to the ground, and it rewards you with fresh foliage and more flowers. Now, Miner's Merlot. Okay, this is a Euphorbia, Miner's Merlot. Now, I absolutely love this one. I love euphorbias, always have since our Sheffield days and our cottage garden that we created from scratch there. I adore this plant, and this euphorbia is one with a difference. I just think that is almost mouth-watering, the foliage in itself. I could just sit and look at that flower, the foliage, sorry, all day. And the flowers are green when they're out and beautiful, very beautiful looking green flowers, but this as it is does it for me. I could just sit and watch this all year round. It's an amazing plant. For those of you that have not grown euphorbias before, it's always nice to be careful when handling them. They have a sap that runs throughout all the stems. It's a white liquid that gets onto you. It can be quite irritating. It's an irritant and can cause sores, blisters, things like that, so you need to be careful. Really probably wear gloves when dealing with this. And certainly if you chopping flowers back or cutting it back or moving it to a certain place, probably better to wear gloves. But it's a really great plant and I love them. I'm going to start collecting these. I've said this on the last video, I'm sure, but I'm definitely going to start collecting them. Now over to 3 plants on this table that I am so glad we brought back with us from Tatton this year. So from the Tatton Flower Show, RHS Tatton, these have come back with us. This is a beautiful tender salvia called Lighthouse Purple. Oh, I love those beautiful blooms. Such a gorgeous purple. Makes me want to suck a boiled sweet that's purple. I could just almost taste mouth-watering. It really is. I just love it. And then next to it, we've got a beautiful plant, Salvia Roman Red. A beautiful salvia, look at that, Roman Red, what a name, it's a strong name. And I just love these beautiful vibrant flowers. Many of you will know, and I'm going to say it again, I know what Paul will think of me for this, but I keep telling people that red is my favourite colour. I tend to like the vibrant colours in the garden. They match my personality, and I'm telling you now that when it comes to reds, is my favourite. I love it, absolutely love it. We've also got a dahlia. Not sure what the name is of this one, but look at how vibrant this one is as well. Oh, I'm not sure of the name, but it's lovely. What a great dahlia with the dark foliage with these beautiful orangey flowers. I can see apricot in there as well, and red as well. That is truly gorgeous. I love the buds when they're ready to pop open. Just look at that. You just know that that beauty is waiting to come out. I love it. And you mix that with the red, oh, and the purple as well. Oh, some great combos going on here. I just love this plant. I'm sorry, I love that salvia. That is amazing. I'm going to start this area with this beautiful rose, Rosa Super Dorothy. Climbed up to the fence, as I knew she would this year. It's a gorgeous rambler, Super Dorothy. Not very highly scented, quite a delicate scent really. Very low on the scent stakes, but I just love it. I love the way that these beautiful blooms just warm the heart. They really do. They're fantastic. And it clothes this fence beautifully, and it's only going to get better as time goes on. She's finished her first flush, and now what we're doing is we're moving on. We're cutting back the spent blooms. So blooms here, they're going to go back, and literally as time goes on, we're going to get lots more shoots, lots more blooms, and she will eventually cover this fence entirely. Also, the tree planted in memory of Ben is doing really, really well. Very great, happy tree. I love the foliage on that. I love dark foliage trees. This is Prunus Nigra, such a beautiful plant. I love the trees, and I love the dark foliage on it. Absolutely amazing. More drumstick alliums going on here in the border, and Sedum matrona. Just look at that. Again, the darker foliage sedums I really do like. They're nice. They just do something, there's something different to that traditional sedum that I know that mum and dad had in their garden. I think I introduced that into their garden actually when I was a boy, 10, 11 years old. But you know, that more traditional sedum, I think this is a much better variety. I love matrona, absolutely love that. When it comes to sedums, Persicaria going absolutely mental as always. This is Persicaria amplexicaulis Firetail. This is quite a tall Persicaria. I told you I like the tall is, and this is no exception. It's almost up to the fence. Absolutely amazing. Bees love it. It's great on a nice sunny day. It's later on in the day here, hence the reason there's not much sun on the garden. The sun's shining, it's a blue sky. There's a few clouds out, but it's, you know, the sky's clear, but the sun is setting. It's late on in the day, so that's why there's not much sun in the garden at the minute. It's just about to set, but just look at that. Persicaria amplexicaulis Firetail. Bit of a thug, really takes hold when this gets going. Try and look at some of these stems. Just look at them. Big stems. Just think, because it's a perennial, this starts off, there's nothing there, the ground's clear, then all of a sudden these stems come up. And you think, oh, what a lovely plant this is going to be. And then eventually the thuggish nature of this Persicaria comes out and it just takes over. You know, I've said many times, if you just let this run rampant, it will just spread throughout the borders. But I love it. We both love it. And it's fantastic. It's coming behind her. Now, some really big changes have gone on in this border. And I say big changes, I mean big changes. Our grasses that were behind, so we have Calamagrostis, Carl Forster there, so Carl Forster, Calamagrostis, and these were under the canopy of the tree. So the magnolia tree was literally drowning them out. Now, I love the magnolia. You know, to be honest with you, I could do with it being a lot bigger. I really like the magnolia tree. It's beautiful. When it comes out with those gorgeous white flowers on, it's amazing. I love it. I don't want to keep trimming it back. So what I've done, or what we did instead, was have these moved. So the Calamagrostis was moved from under the canopy there, out where he can roam freely. These two plants, sorry, they can both roam freely and just do their thing, sway in the breeze. There's nothing worse than having grasses, or tall plants, sorry, I should say, in the wrong place. And they were fine at first, but as the trees got bigger over the last couple of years, I think that these plants were just wasted hiding behind there when we can have that free-flowing nature that they so proudly give to us, just flowing along, just doing their thing. And I think it's so nice to see them now free from that. Obviously we moved them and the weather was slightly warmer at the time. It wasn't too hot. We did move them. But what happened was we made sure that they were watered. Paul literally chucked, after we'd moved them, he chucked buckets of water all over them and kept them well watered afterwards. And whilst they have browned at the base and some of the foliage is not as great as always on some of the leaves, you know, they literally have been well watered to settle them in, and we've had the rain as well since then. So yeah. Eupatorium. Remember we were struggling with the slugs? Now look at him. He's found his feet. He's literally raised himself up beyond the fence, taller than usual. In fact, I think that's the tallest he's ever been. And he's determined. I mean, the snails, look at that. They've literally devoured, and they're still devouring it as we speak. But this plant is tough. This Eupatorium has said, I've had enough now. I'm sick of you ravaging me. I don't care what you do. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep flowering. He's got flowers coming up all over him, literally. And that's the spirit. Strength, determination, and he's given us the height that we wanted. And I'm just so happy that he's decided to say no to the slugs, because at the end of the day, he's a strong plant. Once he's got to a certain height, they're finding it more difficult to get up there. And especially this stem here is doing so well. But all these flowers are going to look amazing as soon as they come out, so I can't wait to see those. So as August progresses, we're going to see lots more flower on this. Mrs. Kendall Clark, Geranium Mrs. Kendall Clark, still looking great. The last thing we want to do is to chop her back, because even though she finished flowering absolutely ages ago, a few garden tours back, it doesn't matter. Just look at what she has to offer. The height, this almost like stability in the garden, this matriarchal aspect of her nature. And she's just happy there doing a thing. You know, her seed has been dispersed. She's just happy being as she is. She's at one with the garden. She's happy, and we're happy that she's happy. She's doing a thing. She just looks great. It fills a space. If we start to chop her back, do you know what's going to happen? She's going to grow back. She's not going to flower again, because she doesn't flower again, but she's going to grow back to probably about so high. She's not going to have this look about her, this space. She's a space filler. She's filling the space and she's making it look good, and she's aging well. It's a great geranium to have, Mrs. Kendall Clark. Some amazing flowers. Crocosmia Lucifer. Now I love the name. I absolutely love this. This is my favourite Crocosmia. Crocosmia Lucifer is just wonderful. I just love it. That vibrant red, again going back to my favourite colour. And whilst it doesn't flower for months on end, it's one of those plants that when it comes out, it's only a matter of weeks really, but it's well worth it. This variety is not invasive like the Crocosmia, the original Crocosmia that you used to see everywhere in everybody's garden that just spreads like wildflower. It literally is not invasive. That was the Crocosmia, the orange one that you used to see in everyone's garden in the 70s, you used to see it everywhere, and 80s, and it used to just go and spread everywhere. It's also against the law to put that into the wild anywhere as well. So if you had that Crocosmia, the original type, Crocosmia folia in the garden, and you decided, I'm going to put this along a grass verge somewhere in the countryside because it will look lovely as we drive past, that's actually against the law. You cannot do that. You should not be doing that. These varieties of Crocosmia are not the same. They are fine. And Crocosmia Lucifer, it does take a while to clump up. When it does, yeah, of course it can create a great specimen, but it's lovely. It's not thuggish, and it's beautiful in the garden. It can also get a lot taller than this as well. This is quite low. Crocosmia Lucifer can go so high. It can be quite big. So it's a really nice, for those who love tallies like I do, it's a really nice one. Veronica in the background there. The bees have just left this quite recently. It was literally, they were literally all over them a while back. And just look at how well that's doing. The globe thistle, our echinops, there is doing amazing. Remember that this was in another part of the garden. This was where the Calamagrostis Carl Forster was. Carl Forster, sorry, not Forester. Carl Forster was over in that part of the garden there. So we swapped them over. What we did was we moved the echinops over to this side and Carl Forster went there. So our Calamagrostis went in this space there because it's better suited. It really is. Our Lichnis coronaria, beautiful again, flowering greatly at this time of year. When that starts to go over and all these flowers start to go back, we've been deadheading, there's still a bit of deadheading to do. When it starts to go back, we will cut them down slightly. So cut them down again, and then literally we will get more flowers as the summer progresses. Now, Geranium Rozanne, sterile variety. Obviously, Geranium Rozanne is sterile, but very beautiful geranium and flowers all through the summer. As we go to autumn, it just keeps flowering. She keeps going, and she is very happy. Stachys. Now, this one is a variety called Humolo. Just look at how lovely that is. That's one we've had, and he was a bit slow to start, to be honest with you, but now look, August is here. We're in August and he's just absolutely loving this space. He's coming up. Those blooms will get a lot taller as well. We did cut some geranium back. This is more traditional pink geranium that you seem to see all over the place. We used to have this in the garden in Sheffield, and this was cut back. It was looking tired. It finished flowering. It was looking a bit tired, the foliage. We cut it back. It's coming back. It will flower again. I'm telling you now, if we cut it back again later on when it's finished, as soon as it's finished flowering again, it will still flower. It'll keep flowering into the autumn. That is amazing. Now, our lovely Nepeta grandiflora, and this one is Summer Magic. Beautiful one. This is not ravaged by the cats. They do not like to roll around in this one. They like the catmint, but they do not like to ravage it. So if you're having trouble with catmint in your garden, sorry, Nepeta in your garden, and the cats are flattening it, probably Summer Magic is one for you. Now, let's move over. More Persicaria amplexicaulis, Firetail. Look at this. I love Persicaria, and again, even taller in height. It's going up into the tree. Literally, I just love the height on this. It's so amazing. Now, our Rudbeckia, and this one is Diamii. These have recently been planted. The other ones were ravaged by the slugs and snails, and so what we did was decided to take those out and replace them with these taller specimens, and just look at the impact. I can't wait for these to come out. Beautiful yellow flowers. I just absolutely love those daisy-like flowers. Whenever we used to grow Rudbeckia in Sheffield, and we used to grow, as well as Diamii, we used to have the Goldston variety. The Goldston seem to be devoured by slugs quite often, whereas the Diamii less so. This year, unfortunately, that's proven to be not the case, and they literally have devoured it. So that hence the reason why we replaced these specimens. And don't they look grand? They look amazing. They look like they've always been there as well. That's what I love about it. They've been placed into the ground. They're brand new, yet they look like they've always been there. A tip with Rudbeckia as well, as we're going through the spring and into the summer, keep them well watered. When we have dry spots, which we've not had this year, but when you do have a dry period, keep them well watered. I think it does. I once read something many years ago that it does help with the flowering. When it comes to flowering, they'll get more flowers. The flowers will be better, and they will flower well. Okay, so if you have a dry spring and early summer, and then all of a sudden you're expecting these magnificent flowers, apparently that's not always the case with these, so it's just nice to keep on top of the watering. On to Crocosmia. Now, this Crocosmia, I can't remember the name of. I'm not sure what it is, but I know that it's going to be very beautiful when it comes out. Just look at the colours starting to form there. So you just know this is really going to be a nice one. Phlox David, starting to open up soon. In the next few days that should be opening up. I know he's already open on the other side. We'll show you that in a minute. We've got Helenium, beautiful Helenium here. Heleniums are one of my favourite plants. They're a really lovely plant that sees us through from summer into the autumn. Absolutely love Heleniums. You can't beat them, and it's just lovely when they finish flowering. if you just leave the heads on as well. Very much like the Rudbeckia as well. Rudbeckia is the same. In fact, you can't beat Rudbeckia for leaving the heads on once they finish flowering. So once these plants, so once the Diamias finish flowering, we will leave the heads on, these lovely dark heads, and they will look amazing. They will see us through into the winter and keep us focused. When we come out into the garden in the winter, we will be able to look at them and appreciate the spent heads. So literally these seed heads, you know, we can appreciate them. We appreciate the flowers, but the seed heads are something beautiful too. Two other new plants, Lythrum, one called the Rocket, this one, and the other one behind there is called Blush. They are really beautiful and would look great planted en masse together, so next to each other, because they look great as they are now, but just look at how they, just imagine how they would look if they were planted en masse. Our Echinacea and Echinacea purpurea Magnus. Magnus is a beautiful one. I just love that name, and look at this. That is gorgeous. I love the heads. I love touching them, and I just know that the bees are going to have a whale of a time on these. Absolutely amazing. Really nice Echinacea, that one, to be honest with you. Our Verbenas, not doing the greatest in the back garden for some reason. I'm not sure why. At the front it's doing really, really well. Our Eryngium planum, absolutely fantastic here. Just look at that. I just love it. It's amazing. Such a beautiful plant. Again, the bees absolutely adore Eryngium planum. So if you've not grown this in the garden, give it a try. You need good drainage for this. You really do need good drainage. There were 3 plants. The other 2 didn't do that great, but this one is stunning. Look at that height. And the bees absolutely love it again. They really do. Now, more Stipa tenuissima bellowing out all over the place. We've got our pelargoniums. They're doing well there. Everything's looking fantastic. I just love what's going on here. I really do. I'm sorry there's so much. Cosmos looking great here. Absolutely fantastic. Doing really, really well. Doing well with Cosmos. More Stipa tenuissima, as I always say, at the other side. More Helenium as well. We've got that repetition going on. So our repetition, so both sides, we've got the same Helenium going on. We've got a lovely grass here. This one's gorgeous. I truly love this one. And this one, I don't remember the name of, but I am going to look inside to see if there's a label on, because I've forgotten my glasses and that's really naughty. There's no label on it, but I know I do like this one. Paul will know the name of it, but I know that that's really good. We might put the name on the screen. That's a really nice grass. I absolutely love that. I love its height. I love it's quite sparing. It's not a full grass, if that makes sense. It's quite delicate. The flowers are really delicate. I'm loving the Buddleja. This was where the cuttings came from. This is the guy. This is the one. This is the plant where it all came from. It all started with this. And I love the scent of Buddlejas as well. Now, some people say, well, Buddlejas are invasive, and yeah, they can be. They get into brickwork and they seem to prolifically self-seed everywhere, and then you get Buddlejas coming up. That more traditional blue variety just comes up everywhere. Yes, that might be the case, but if you look after them, you look after these plants, they will reward you and reward the butterflies and the bees as well. You think about what this does to a butterfly when it sees these beautiful flowers. And I just love the scent, being around a Buddleja, absolutely love it. My goodness, look at this Persicaria here. This is a nice one. Wow, this has come back from Tatton as well. This one is a variety called Red Dragon, beautiful Persicaria. And we've got some fuchsias there to go in as well, because the Astrantia was nobbled, literally, so we're gonna have to get those in the ground, but they've come back from us, from Tatton with us as well. This corner is looking great, absolutely adoring it. Just noticing I'm being bitten. So literally my legs, because my legs are showing, I'm getting bitten because it's near sunset, but we're doing really well. This side looks absolutely amazing. I'm loving it. And we've still got some foxgloves coming up as well, some digitalis, fantastic. Helenium looking good. Phlox David, that's what I wanted to show you all. So Phlox David, on the other side, as you know, the buds were ready to open. They were a bit like this, but here he is well and truly open. This is a great phlox if you like phloxes that are not ravaged by slugs. When he first comes up, he does get attacked a little bit, but then once he's going, it really does look great. Some phloxes really do struggle with slugs and snails. This one doesn't. Okay, so Phlox David, absolutely amazing. We've been growing this one for years. We had this in Sheffield, absolutely tried and tested variety, so we can honestly say, you know, give it a go if you like phlox, especially if you like the white varieties. Absolutely well worth it. Crocosmia doing really well in there, absolutely amazing. Our Ligualaria looks just as gorgeous. The yellow flowers have gone now, but we're leaving these spires on. I think they look amazing. They look great. They really do. Now, you might remember not long ago I cut back the Alchemilla mollis. Okay, that was cut back because the flowers had gone over. They were going to seed, and I didn't want it to self-seed all over the place. It is now beginning to grow back, so that's going to create some great foliage for us and some fantastic flowers again, hopefully. Superba going on here, so our Persicaria Superba looking great. Our Phlox Spatsommer, so this is Phlox paniculata Spatsommer. This is another variety of phlox that you can grow if you have a problem with slugs in your garden, because it just tends to leave it alone. The foliage is a bit tougher and they just don't like it. This is an amazing phlox, and the scent is just well and truly divine. So Phlox Spatsommer, Phlox paniculata Spatsommer, if you want something that's been tried and tested and you want it to be left alone and just to keep it in your garden and just to come up every year and you not be thinking, oh, the slugs and snails have been at my phlox, you know, this is the one. This is the one. And Phlox David as well. Two very beautiful phloxes, but look great in a garden together as well. They do look great with the white, and then we've got the pink. They look fantastic. But everything's doing great. The Leucanthraman as well, that's doing well. It's going to come to an end soon, this one, I must admit, but it's doing really, really well. The birds are waiting to be fed, so I know that they're getting a little bit agitated, let's just say. But everything's looking great in the garden, to be honest with you. I think this is well and truly my favourite month so far in the garden. Everything's looking great. But I know that there's more to come, certainly with the Rudbeckia. I can't wait next month to show you the Rudbeckia out in flower. I just can't wait for that one. Let me just show you something. We got this idea from the guys over in Denmark, the perennial garden, Lars and Alan. And basically, it is to lay down the digitalis stems. Once they've finished flowering and gone to seed, lay the stems down across the ground like this and just let the seeds disperse. We've already collected most of the seed already, or should I say the seed that we need. But instead of throwing the rest of it in the bin, getting rid of these in the green waste, we've decided to follow suit and lay these flat, and I think it's a really great idea. One last thing before I finish, I really want to show you this. This is Liatris spicata. Such a beautiful plant. I love the foliage. I love these slender, beautiful leaves, but just look at the flowers. I know that Paul has been waiting for these to bloom, and just look at them. They are perfect in every way. They are well worth the wait. I love the height. I love the way that they look in this metal container. They're truly beautiful in every way, and the flowers, they're just stunning. They really are. It's a masterpiece in a beautiful container, and I really do love this. Now, that's it from me today. Thank you so much for coming along with me on my August garden tour. It's very much appreciated, you being here with me. I just love showing people around the garden, and this is my perfect chance to show you all around. Now, if you've not already subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. Also hit the like button as well. And if you have any comments, drop them in the comments box below. It's been great having you here today. If you know anybody that might like our videos, please feel free to share them on social media. Send them to other people, send them to people that you know, because that way we get that message out there about our passion for plants, and that's what it's all about. It stems from a passion and a love of plants. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I will definitely see you on the next one. See you soon.